generation. No more standing out in line. So good at wasting our time. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation. We are the lazy generation now.
Hello and welcome to round 16 of the GP4 Offline League Championship. We are here for the 16th round of the season at the Fuji Super Speedway for the Japanese Grand Prix. So if you're wondering why is it not Suzuka, it's because in the real 2008 season it was held at the Fuji circuit. So some news in the paddock is that Red Bull have signed Florian Volker for the 2009 season. A very interesting signing. Red Bull, a bit like usual in real life for Toro Rosso, and Ferrari has signed Waze Cooper, and that personally could be quite a big signing in regards to the championship. Waze Cooper, who is a good driver, but just in not a particularly reliable car. That's pretty much the only way to say it. So KERS will be used in 2009, and the teams that will use KERS are McLaren, Ferrari, BMW, and Renault. So we'll see how that affects the other teams throughout the season. Now, one thing about the Fuji circuit is it has one of the longest straights of the calendar, almost a mile long in length, as you can see. A track which I don't particularly know about much myself, to be honest. I'm not sure it was known necessarily for fantastic racing, although it was used back in the 1970s, and obviously for the title battle between Niki Lauda and James Hunt, which obviously ended in James Hunt winning the championship. But anyway, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent there. So let's go and have a look at the grid for the Grand Prix. Now, qualifying was dry, so unlike, I suppose, 2007 season where it's wet. But I don't know what I'm saying there. Anyway, the grid. So Will Nenner is on pole, Joseph Williams is in second, Bruno Chinquera third, Jamie Mackenzie fourth, George Rogan fifth, followed by Evan Byrne, a good qualifying from him, for Toyota in sixth place. Yeah, sorry. In seventh place is Felix Sontag. Not a fantastic qualifying from him, but we'll see if he can improve it during the race. Ryder Moichin in eighth, showing more improved form after. Don't know what's going on with my throat today. Moichin showing more improved form since his car's actually started working. Waze Cooper's in ninth, followed by Paige Knight in 10th place. 11th is Florian Volker, followed by Mikhail Sgal in 12th place. Two Toro Rossos together there. And in 13th is James Willows. Disappointing qualifying for both Red Bulls, to be honest, behind both Toro Rossos. And that will be good for Volko, since he will be joining, obviously, Red Bull for the season. And in 15th place is Alex Southgate, followed by Azul Zafri, an impressive qualifying from him in 16th place, with Finley Strachan and Jack Boyman, the two Williams, as their miserable season, to be honest, continues on. And 19th place is Viggo Holst, followed by Dominic D'Alessio in 20th. And at the back row of the grid is, of course, the two Super Aguris of Adam Wolff and Dmitry Surkov. So we are about to start the race. So we will see what the weather's like. I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like for the race, but as you can see here, it is dry at the moment, but as you can see, it is expected to rain in the first half an hour of the race or so. As you can see, the sun followed by clouds and probably rain most likely. So this will be quite interesting to see what happens in the race, as it rained in the 2007 race, but not the 2008. And as you can see here, it is currently raining at the start, but all the drivers are on dry tyres, so there's nothing they can do about it. The lights are coming on. We're on 5 lights. And the lights are out and away we go after a fairly long hold. So who is going to get the best run into turn 1? It looks like Nella's got the best run, as there is Paige Knight coming through the mid-pack. There's cars moving about. Is there going to be any collisions at turn 1? There usually has been nearly every race. And it looks like everyone has managed to keep it clean. And indeed they have. And no one has actually collided. So Nella leads. And here comes Bruno Chinquera right behind Joseph Willis, trying to get second place, but he stays behind in third. And I believe it will be George Roke behind in 4th place as they're coming around the long right-hander. And there goes, oh, that's George Roke going around the outside. George Roke goes round the outside of the long right-hander there and makes a fantastic move. What a move by George Roke. And now here comes Felix Sontag right next to Bruno Chinquera. Can he make the move? It's very close. Nearly contact, and Sontag lost a place now to Jamie Mackenzie. Has he lost a place? I believe he has, as here come all the cars down through the twisty section of the track. Amazingly, no one has actually collided yet. There's no front wing or rear wings lost. Everyone has managed to keep it very clean so far. As you can see, if you're wondering also why they're on the on different tyres from any other race, that's because these were also the tyres used for the Grand Prix in 2008. And as we come down the long pit straight, Will Neller's made the perfect start. He needs this because Joseph Willis could actually win the championship in this race if the results do go his way. Obviously, we have 2 more races after this in China and Brazil. As here is Mackenzie on the inside of, I believe this is Bruno Cinquera, and it is. And Sontag will try to get in on the apps as well. As here is, I believe this is Volker passing Evan Burns. So Volker's made a good start all the way from 12th place. So well done to him. So we're coming down through turn 1. And oh, there's contact between Holst and a Honda. I believe that is that Dominic DeLacio or is that Alex Southgate? I believe it's Alex Southgate. And already we do, and I was just saying how everyone managed to get through the first 2 corners well, and it was Alex Southgate. And they've had a collision at turn 1 where I thought they would. So after 1 whole lap of no contact, there has now been a crash. So that's unfortunate there for Viggo Holst. And also Alex Southgate, who himself has had a pretty crap season so far. As we go on board with Evan Byrne, who goes a bit wide there. And oh, there's more contact with the Red Bull of, I believe that is that Sam Thompson or is that James Willows? As he comes back onto the track and he's going to hit the Williams, and he does hit the Williams. Oh, and he's hit the Williams of Jack Boyman. Oh my goodness me, so already there now has been chaos. The rain is still coming down, but everyone is still on dry tyres, so it's obviously not wet enough for dry tyres. And there's even more contact between Strachan and, was that the other Honda of the Lacio? I believe it was. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was one of the Super Aguris. It was Adam Wolf there, and already there has been a fair bit of chaos. So Burns out the race, Boyman's out the race. And oh, Will Neller's gone off. Will Neller has spun. Oh, that is crucial in the championship. Will Neller will not like this at all. He is cracked under pressure. He's going to drop down the order as we go on board to see what happened. He goes wide. You can see the track is now getting pretty wet now, so the cars are struggling. He just touches the grass ever so slightly, and because it's been raining, it's very, very slippery, and he goes off the track. Now he's going to drop all the way down outside of the top 10, and he rejoins the track in 11th place. This will be perfect situation for James Willows, and for Joseph Willows, sorry, not James Willows. And I believe it was, I still actually don't know which report it was. Oh, it was James Willows, I was correct. And so his car is still being pushed out the track at the moment. As we're on board with Strachan, there's a number of drivers have now come into the pits full wet tyres. So Strachan's in for wet, Neller's in, Gal's in, Joseph Willows is now in. So I imagine that will mean everybody will be in next lap, or at least most of the cars. So I don't know if they'll try and double stack. So Zaffrey's now in the pit. Zaffrey's made a good start as well. He's up to 5th place. Well, he is in the moment, but the imagine he'll drop down a few after the pit stops come. So here's Wade Kuba. There goes the. Here comes George Roke out the pits. Paige Knight's in the pits. There's a Toro Rosso in front as well. And Volker. Following Volker is now Adam Wall comes in the pits. Cinquera's in the pits. So Volker now comes out. Paige Knight goes out in front of him. Everyone is in the pits. Most drivers are in the pits, so I'm not sure who hasn't pitted yet. So here comes Alan Wolf into the pits. So let's see where he'll come out onto the track. And he'll come out, not sure where he'll come out, probably come out near the back. He's in 14th at the moment. And that is where he stays. And so Felix Sontag at the moment is still on dry tyres, so he leads the race. So Sontag now comes into the pits. I believe Moichin's also stayed out on dries, and so is Joe McKenzie. So those are the drivers who haven't pitted yet. I don't know if there have been any others, but most of them have pitted for wet tyres. So has McKenzie come into the pits? I believe he has. As Sontag is obviously putting a lot of fuel in his car. Moichin is now in the pits, as you can see. As Joseph Williams now takes the lead back of the Grand Prix. So where is this going to put Sontag? As here's McKenzie coming out of the pits. So where's this going to put Sontag? So and here comes Will Neller into the pit. So he didn't. I thought he was going to pit for dry tyres on the lap. Obviously, I guess I must have been wrong or mistaken. One of the two. Could easily be one of the two. As Will Neller comes out, so he is dropped well back. This is going to cost him very, very badly. He's already out of the points, and he's going to drop down even further. So he's got a lot of recovery to do. So he'll come out in 12th place. It looks like that is not good for him at all. Joseph Williams must be licking his lips right now in delight at what's going on. As, oh, there goes Waze Kuba around the outside of George Roke there. Looked like it was a bit of a twitch there from George Roach, so he must have made a bit of a mistake. So Wade Cooper's now up to 5th place. 4th place, sorry. Right down to 5th place here. On board with Sam Thompson. Sam Thompson goes wide. He goes into the grass. Is he going to control it? No, he can't. And he spins off the track. That puts Will Neller up, moves him up, moves Bruno Junqueira as well. So you can see he just goes a bit wide. He's struggling on these wet tyres, and he goes on the curb, which is already wet enough as it is. Then he goes onto the grass, and that just means he just can't control the car at all. And he spins out. See, that spin. Fortunately manages to avoid the wall. As there goes Junqueira, and there goes Neller. As here's Roland Moitian. Moitian's gone a bit wide as well, around the long right-hander, and he manages to control it without spinning. That's going to cost him a bit of time. So as we go on board, he comes around to right-handed, proving a lot of problems for the drivers. You can see he has a bit of understeer, and he just can't control the car. He was lucky actually not to spin, but he managed to get away. He nearly actually spun coming back onto the track, but he keeps 7th place. He doesn't lose any positions. So we're on lap 16. There's been a lot of action already happening in this race. What more is going to happen for the rest of the race? As Moitian comes down through the fast 2 right-handers into the hairpin. And that's Azul Zafri. No, Azul Zafri was running so well. He was running in the top 5. He was having a fantastic race. And Azul Zafri is going to retire from the Grand Prix. Absolutely devastating. Probably one of his best chances to score well, a point. I don't think, because obviously in the last driver standings it was actually a mistake. Zafri and I believe it was Surkov hadn't scored any points yet, but and it's a suspension failure for Zafri. Absolutely gutting for the Malaysian driver. He must be just incredibly angry under the helmet, and obviously it's not his fault. Unfortunately, his car's reliability's let him down there, so that's both Force India's now out of the race after, well, on lap 16 now. As we go on board with Relo Moitian, we skip to lap 26, and Relo Moitian is making a move on George Roque here, coming into turn 1. Is he going to be able to make the move stick? And I believe he is, and yes he does, so he moves above George Roque. I think George Roque's got a lot of, probably got on a different strategy to him, because it would be unusual for Roque to be that bad in these conditions, as now Joseph Willows comes into the pits on lap 33. Is this going to be the pit? Is this going to be for dry tyres? Because as you can see, the track has dried a bit. But is it going to be enough for dries? But he pits. I'm not sure if it's quite dry enough yet for slick tyres, but we'll see what his pace is going to be like. I wonder if anyone else has come into the pits yet. As we go, as Joseph Williams goes out, he joins. It still looks pretty wet coming into the pit lane, and you can see there's not really that much of a dry line. You can tell as he comes out in 3rd place. So this will see how fast he really is. So at the moment he comes out in 3rd. As Surkov, I believe, he's going to go in the pits as well for dry tyres, so let's see how he does out on track. I don't know if he'll be able to, he might gain a few positions, but I don't know if he'll be able to gain enough positions to get into the points, per se, but we will see. So Circle comes in, he changes to the green marked tyres. Personally, I think they look quite good, actually, myself, but obviously they're only used in this race out of the whole season. As Circle comes out, there's a long stop, so I imagine he'll probably fuel into the end. So he comes out as we're on board with Waze Kuba, who's right behind Joseph Willows. So Joseph Willows clearly hasn't been able to get away, so obviously the dry tyres have not yet come into effect. So as you can see, Joseph Willows struggling to make the corner there. Around the final corners, into the pits comes Strachan, he's going to go on to dries. And I believe Sam Thompson's in as well, so Sontag stays out and wet, so this could work out really well for Sontag and Mackenzie, as Kuba, well, actually, no, he doesn't. Well, he was going to go past Willows, but he goes into the pits, obviously, for dry tyres, so I'm not I would probably have aimed to maybe pit around lap 35. That would probably be when the dry tyres start to work, as out the pits comes Thompson, there's Roque in P5, there's Wolf, and Kuba's in the pits on dry, so let's see where he'll come out and what his pace will be like. Obviously, he'll have fresher tyres than a lot of the guys around him if the track now starts drying now. So he's going to come out onto the track. And Page Knight now going to come in on the next lap for dry tyres. I think it should be around about probably this lap or the next couple laps when I believe it will start to dry up, but we will see. So Knight comes out, the pits on the dries. There goes Bruno Junqueira. Adam Wilson has been in the pits as well. So Moitian has now past, I believe, is this Joseph Willows? It is Joseph Willows, so obviously the dry is still not working for Joseph Willows, so I think he, unfortunately, he signalled the start. I mean, he was creeping around the fast right-hander there, so the dry tire is yet to come into effect, so Mackenzie stayed out, and so has Sontag. It has worked very well for them both. Kuba, as you can see, just creeping around, and there goes Florian Volker, just goes straight past him. So obviously the dry is still yet to come into effect. This could actually work very well for Mackenzie and for Sontag, as Nella goes off again, and he spins for the second time at the same corner. Nella, who is still at the moment on the wet tyres, and if he had kept going, and he was gonna be catching Joseph Willows, so they could have been in a battle with him, but he's cocked up again, and he spins out. This is very good for Joseph Willows. It's everything that could go wrong for Nella is going wrong. So he drops down into 6th place. He's still in the points, but it is not going to plan for Will Nella. This will not be what he wanted, but this is exactly what Joseph Willows would have wanted indeed. As into the pits now comes Rolab Moitian. Into the pits, I imagine it will probably be around about here, or to the lap 40 mark will be, I think, when the dry tyres will start to work. See, it's not raining now. There's not been particularly much of a dry line, but let's see. I believe this probably will be around about the right time to pit. Willows pitted, I think, far too early. As into the pits now comes Jamie Mackenzie a lap later. This has worked very well for him, and I don't think Sontag's actually pitted yet, unless he's at the end of the pits right now, but I don't think he is. But as we're coming with Mackenzie, is he going to fuel to the end? Because I don't think the drivers will be particularly wanting to make another pit stop. Mackenzie comes out, so now obviously still on the wet tyres. I imagine he'll probably come in this lap. So Willows there goes past Mackenzie, as there is Gal coming out. As you can see, the track is certainly dry. And here comes Felix Sontag. Didn't look like he was going to come into the pits then, but he is. So for Sontag, this has gone pretty much to plan. He actually hasn't been involved in any incident at all during this race. He's kept it very clean, and I believe this pitting at this lap is probably the exact right time to. As you can see, the track is drying. Not quite a dry line yet, but there will be soon, I imagine, where you can see bits of dry on the track. So for Sontag, this has actually gone very well. And George Roque actually as well has obviously stayed out, and I believe he's in the pits as well, and he is. So it's worked out very well for George Roque and for Sontag, but it will work very well for Sontag, certainly. He'll be up with the leaders. Now into the pits comes Will Nella, who would not need this, really. If he hadn't really spun out, he could have been close to Joseph Willows. The last 3 pitches could have really tried to chase him down, as he would have had probably fresher tyres. But we don't know what the strategy is like. Has all the teams fueled them to the end? I'm not sure. Obviously, I think they certainly fueled Mackenzie to the end. Have they fueled the 2 McLarens to the end? I'm not sure how long Sontag's stop was, and Volker's had to be held in the pits here because his teammates just pitted. This is going to cost him dearly. A pit stop mistake by Toro Rosso there. It's cost him certainly a few seconds, and it might cost him badly in the race as Will Nella, about to call him Willows then, Will Nella comes out in P7 as we're on lap 48. As you can see, the dry line is clearly now on the track. And here is Will Nella, who's trying to go around the outside and lap him. And oh, there's contact! Oh, between him and Will Nella. Will Nella, who must be incredibly annoyed at the moment about the luck he's having. And he's just taken out Delacia in spectacular fashion. So that is Delacia now out the race. Delacio's miserable season continued, and I imagine he won't be too happy with that. So as you can see, Will Nella tries to lap him. He goes on the outside on the wet stuff, and then he goes on the dry line. And you can see Nella just turns into Delacia there. Don't really know what he was thinking, to be honest. He probably should have maybe backed off, or maybe Delacia should have maybe backed off a bit before the corner. But still, that was a silly mistake there by Delacia, and a spectacular by Nella, sorry, and a spectacular crash, meaning that he is now out. As I said already, his poor season just continues to unravel. So we've now got just less than 20 laps to go. We've now got 19, in fact. Delacio's out, so into the pits now comes Finney Strachan. So obviously they did not fuel him to the end of the race, and I don't know who that is. It's just coming in. It's Paige Knight, so obviously they did not fuel her to the end. So obviously I wonder I think probably fueling to the end probably would work better, since obviously the track is drying even more. and they probably wouldn't want to pit late on, so Page Knight comes out in ninth place. Strachan goes out. Here is, I believe this is Waze Cooper. Waze Cooper's gone wide, but he hasn't lost it, fortunately. He lost it coming off the corner, but he goes wide there, coming around the fast right-hander where everyone seems to be struggling. And so he keeps the 4th place at the moment, ahead of George Roke. George Roke currently in P5. So into the pits comes Joseph Willis, so they did not fuel him to the end. So did they fuel Sontag to the end? I believe they may have done. So Joseph Willis is in first at the moment. Well, we'll be down, I think, to 3rd after the stop. And I don't know, and I believe that will probably be enough for him to win the championship, because I think Nell is down in like P6 or 7 at the moment. So I believe Willis would, at this moment in time, if results were to finish as they were now, would win the championship, I think. So he comes out now. Would he be able to catch Mackenzie for 2nd place? Because he'll have the fresher tyres, and probably the paces. Moitian was in the pits there, so they didn't fuel him to the end either. In the pits now comes Adam Wolf. So obviously they did not fuel him to the end either. 9.6 second stop. So both Super are still in this race at least. So. And Surkoff will come out ahead of Adam Wolf, so nice little team battle there for the end. Sam Thompson in the pits as well. So certainly I think fueling the drivers to the end was certainly the better strategy for, well, most of the teams. But I suppose it won't matter too much for Joseph Willis because he's not lost, well, he's only down to 3rd place and he could easily still catch Mackenzie before the end. So we'll see. As here is Joseph Willis on lap 64, so Sontag is still comfortably in the lead. Willis has caught up to Mackenzie already and is set to pass him. Is he going to pass him coming into the right-hander? I don't believe he is. There should be more opportunities to overtake. He's certainly the biggest overtaking opportunity will be at turn 1, at the end of the long straight, and they've got traffic ahead of them as well. That could come into play. They've got it's the Williams there of Finlay Strachan. That's the Jack Bourne, he's out the race already, but they've got Finlay Strachan ahead of them. I don't think Mackenzie's close enough to get the slipstream. But I believe Joseph Willis comfortably does have the slipstream. Is he going to have enough power to be, well, alongside Mackenzie? And he is. Is he going to be able to overtake him into turn 1? Is Mackenzie going to do a very late braking? Surely not. As Joseph Willis comes round into turn 1 and he overtakes Mackenzie, he takes 2nd place in the race. So it is now a McLaren 1-2. Something they probably wish for a lot more this season. And so at this moment in time, Joseph Willis, I believe, will win the championship, as there is Sontag in the lead. He's on the last lap. He's just set the fastest lap of the race. He's now setting his authority on the field. Sontag, who's had a pretty crappy season, but Joseph Willis just obliterates that with a 1:17.6, half a second quicker than Sontag. Absolutely obliterates that fastest lap, but it doesn't matter for Sontag. He's got a 10-second lead, so he can just cruise it to the finish. Sontag, who's had rotten luck this season, he has, I think, won, I believe, earlier this season. I don't have a particularly brilliant memory, unfortunately, but he has, I believe, won earlier this season, but his season's been blighted by bad luck, collisions. Obviously, he retired last weekend at the Singapore Grand Prix because of, obviously, the crash at the start between Kuba and Moitian. Sontag would have wished for this so much more often at the moment, but he's still, after all of this, 3rd in the championship, just ahead of the 2 BMWs. So Sontag is about to come, I believe, around the final corner. He's coming out with a tight left-hander, coming round at the final corner, and Sontag is about to come down the final straight. Surely nothing's going to break now. Surely his engine can't blow. And Felix Sontag is about to come down the final straight. He'll be so relieved at this, but Felix Sontag is going to win the Japanese Grand Prix. Well done to him. And he comes across the line all the way down eventually after ages of coming down, and Felix Sontag wins the Grand Prix. Well done to him. His strategy worked. The strategy of fueling into the end worked a lot better than pitting him, as Willows sets the fastest lap. Joseph Willows sets the fastest lap of the race, and Joseph Willows is the 2008 GP4 Offline League Championship champion. Well done to him. He's deserved it all season. He's certainly been more consistent than Nella. He's been in the points in most races so far. As there's Mackenzie, I believe, behind in 3rd place. So well done to Mackenzie coming in 3rd. Well done to Sontag for winning the race, but well done especially to Joseph Willis for winning the championship. Will Nella must be absolutely gutted. Everything that went wrong for him, or everything that possibly could have gone wrong for him, went wrong. And he comes home in 6th place, so he is not going to be a happy bunny as he crosses the line. But well done to Joseph Willows, and well done to both the fans. Well done to Sontag as well. I can't forget about him for winning the race. As Kuba comes over the line in, I believe it's 5th place. Roke comes home in 4th. So Joseph Willows, well done to him. Just again, it's not really much or else I can say really, but he's the champion. I believe he's gone over the 100 point mark. But again, as I said, he's been very consistent this season. And yeah, so here are the finishing results. So Felix Sontag wins the race header, Joseph Willows 2nd, Jay McKenzie 3rd, George Roke 4th, Roland Moichin in 5th, so well done to him. Ornella comes in at disappointing 6th, Kuba 7th, Volker takes a final point in 8th, Page Knight 9th, Junquera 10th, Thompson 11th, Strachan 12th, Wolf 13th, Circle 14th, with Delacio, Gal, Zaffrey, Byrne, Boyne, Willows, Holst, and Southgate the retirements. So we go to the fastest lap. There we go. Willows fastest lap of the race in 1st, Moit in 2nd, good pace from him, Sontag 3rd, Nella 4th, Kuba 5th, Roke 6th, McKenzie 7th, Volker 8th, Junquera 9th, Thompson 10th, Page Knight 11th, Strachan, Wolf, Circle from Willows, then Delacio, Zaffrey, Boyman, Gal, Evan Byrne, big old Holst, and of course Alex Southgate. So here are the final standings, and also I'd like to apologise guys if I was sniffing and coughing a lot. I'm not too well at the moment. But anyway, here are the standings. So Willows is now officially champion with 106 points and Nella's 2nd. I imagine he's probably got that secured just about. Sometimes I could still easily get him though. Kenzie's now moved ahead of Rope by 1 point, so there's still a good battle for 3rd going on. Junquera's in 6th, and what a battle it is for 7th place. Look at that. The battle stretches all the way down to, well, technically, actually, Jack Boyne in 50. Look at that. 3 points separating 7th to 14th. That could be a very interesting battle at the end. So as you can see, Volker, Thompson, Kuba, Willows, Marta, Byrne, Knight, Gal. And then, of course, we've got Boyman, Moitin, Strachan, Delacio, Skara, who obviously only one race. Southgate has got 3. Holst, Wolf, Zaffrey, and Surkov. And in the Teams Championships, McLaren now lead by 20 points over Ferrari, so they haven't yet won the championship yet. They could still obviously get it, Ferrari, I believe. BMW comfortably in 3rd, and another great battle for 4th in the constructors between Toyota, Red Bull, and Toro Rosso, with Toyota just edging it. Ahead of Red Bull and Toro Rosso, with Renault 7th. They could still come into it. Williams in 8th, Honda 9th, Force India 10th, and Super Aguri in 11th. Well, that has been the Japanese Grand Prix. I hope all you guys enjoyed. It was a good race at the Fuji circuit. So we will see you for the penultimate round of the season at China for at the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. Goodbye.